Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. So this morning I was thinking about filming a video about all the books that I really wanted to read before the summer was over. And as I was compiling this list of books, the list kept getting longer and longer and longer. And so when I had this very long list of books, I decided that I would still film the video, but I was going to do it in two parts. The first part of the video is going to be the books that I absolutely feel must be read before the summer is ended. And the second half of the video is going to be showing you all the books that I hope to read by the end of the year. So I'm not going to be doing a lot of explanation about these books. I'm just going to be kind of showing them to you really quickly because this video has the potential to be a very, very long one, and I really don't want it to be forever long. So I'm just going to start showing you the books. The first one that I have on my pile is Just So Stories by Rudyard Kipling. I don't know why, but this book is like calling to me. I don't understand what it is, but I'm really feeling the need to read this book. So hopefully I get to do that. And the next book I have is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I have read this book before a long time ago and I really didn't like it, but I have since then read a few of Jane Austen's books and really loved them. So I really want to try this one again, and I'm in the mood for an Austen book. I really want to read some. One of the books I would really love to read before the summer is out is Anne of Green Gables by Ellen Montgomery. I absolutely love this book and I really want to reread the rest of the series as well. I have reread Anne since the first time I read the series, but I hadn't read all the other books, so I really wanted to read Anne again and then start reading the rest of the books in her series. And the next book I have is also by Ellen Montgomery, and it is Jane of Lantern Hill, and I'm dying to read this book. I really want to read it. There's something about it that's sort of mysterious, because it seems quite different from the rest of her books. I think it was written later on in her career, and there's just something about it that is just like I'm very curious. I would really like to know what it's about. And the next book I have is A Nearer Moon by Melanie Crowder. I actually just got this book in February, but I don't want it to be one of those books that just sits on my shelf forever and ever, never getting read. And it seems like it would be a really nice summer read for some reason. I mean, it's about water sprites and swamps and things like that, so I don't know why I feel like that's quite summery. And the next book I have, I've actually already sort of started, and that is Peter Pan by J.M. Barrie. I started reading this book, and then for some reason I wasn't feeling it. There's part of me that still really wants to read this book. I'm still in the mood to read something like this, so hopefully I will get to read it. And the last book that I feel must absolutely be read before the end of summer is Fairy Dust and the Quest for the Egg by Gail Carson Levine. I love Gail Carson Levine. She's one of my favorite authors, and I remember reading this book ages and ages ago, like right when all this fairy stuff first came out and all that stuff, and I really feel like rereading it because I remember really loving this book and it was so much fun, so I want to kind of revisit this story. On to the books that I will hopefully be reading over the fall and the winter time of the rest of the year. The first one I have is actually a series, and it is The Girl Who Circumnavigated Fairyland in a Ship of Her Own Making by Catherine M. Valente, I don't know her last name, but I've actually already read this one and I absolutely loved it, and I really want to read the rest of the series, and I would love to read it before the end of the year approaches. And the next book I have is The Five Children in It by E. Nesbit. I've read quite a few of E. Nesbit's books, and I just have never read this one, and so I would really like to have some E. Nesbit in my ear. And the next one I have is Mansfield Park by Jane Austen. There's something about this book that I really just want to read, and I would love to read it this year, so hopefully I get to. I'm not really sure. I'm not even overly familiar with this story, and that might be why I want to read it, just because it's not one of the Jane Austen stories that I already know really well. Next one I have a doc read, and that is The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. I love Oscar Wilde's play The Importance of Being Earnest. It's my favorite play of all time, but I've never read any of his books, so I would really like to try this, and I know that a lot of people like it, and there's something about it that seems really mysterious and that I would be interested in. The next book that I have is A Tree Grows in Brooklyn by Betty Smith. I actually started reading this book quite a few years ago, and for some reason I stopped it, but what was really weird is I remember liking it, but I still stopped it anyway. So I don't know what was up with that. The next book, I actually have no idea what this book is about, and I honestly think that's the reason why I want to read it. And it is Dr. Zhivago by Pasternak. I don't know this guy's last name. It's by a Russian man. That's all I know, really. I don't really know what this book is even about. I know that it's set in Russia, and that's kind of it. And I think that might be why I want to read it, is because I have no clue, and it would be sort of an exciting adventure to find out what this book is actually about. The next book that I would really love to read before the year is out is Little Women by by Louisa May Alcott. I've been wanting to reread this book for a super long time, but I've never gotten to it, and it's mostly because it's so big. Like, it's a really big book. It's very chunky, and that kind of makes me nervous about reading it, especially as school will be starting again, and I'm not sure if I'll actually even have time to read it, so I'll be reading it for like ever. But sometimes it's nice during the school year to read a fat book that you already know is fantastic, because I already know Little Women is fantastic, and I already know that I love the story and everything. So it might be kind of nice to read a chunky book that I love and be able to take a break from awful school life. The next book is another chunky book, but I love this chunky book, so that would be okay. And it is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I love Jane Eyre. It's one of my favorite books, and I've been dying to reread it, and it's more of a winter book. I don't like to read it in the summer, so I would have to read it during school, but you know, that would be kind of nice to have this wonderful story to entertain me while I have to deal with the drudgeries of school. And this next book is a book that I've been meaning to read for a very long time, but for some reason have never really gotten to it or felt intense interest in until now, and it is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I watched a review by one of my favorite booktubers. Her name is Amanda Center, and I will link her video below. She absolutely loves this book, and she was reviewing it, and the way that she talked about it and the way that she described it made me want to read it so bad, so now I think I have to. And the last book that I would love to read before the year is out is All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. I have read this book before, but that was almost 2 years ago now, and so I would really love to read it again because a lot of the details are fuzzy about this book, and I just remember loving it so much that I would really love to just read it again. So I hope you enjoyed that video. I know I was talking really fast and kind of just flying through these books, but I hope you enjoyed it anyway. Tell me in the comments below if there's any books that you're dying to read before the summer is over or before the end of the year is over, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!